Welcome to CallingAllRetroGamers.com podcast, YouTube. What the hell is it, Tim?
Podcast.
Calling all retro gamers. Boom shakalaka.
Calling all retro gamers.
Calling all retro gamers.
Calling all retro gamers.
Calling all retro
gamers.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome to Calling All Retro Gamers, the bi-weekly excuse for me and Ed to come up and talk with each other and have a good time. And today, we've got a guest. Weekly excuse for me and Ed to come up and talk with each other and have a good time.
Today. There we go.
It's all good. It's all good.
There we go.
Okay.
Technical difficulties.
Muting tabs on guests it happens.
It happens on live.
It's all good. It's all good. Yeah, Panda's Up 2000 knows a little bit about that too. So before we get saying hi to everyone in the chat, of course we got to say hi to Ed Retro9. What's going on?
Yeah.
What's going on? And of course, our guest Tim's Tiny Arcade. How's it going?
Hey, it's going great, guys. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah.
Thanks for being here. Looks like we do have some of our fine regulars here in the chat. We got Ian Hobbies. What's going on? How's it going? We got Chris Westerman in the house, and Nick, the toy collector. How's it going, man? How's that? What's going on? Welcome in. Got a cool show for you. We're going to talk about all sorts of fun stuff. We've got our usual mix of questions that we have for all of our guests, and then of course the chat. We got something to ask. Fire away.
Yeah, ask away.
We'll call all those questions and kind of ask as we go. You know how it is. We just like to hang out, have a good time, have a good conversation. So Ed, do you want to kick things off with a little question, or just how was your week? How's it going on?
Week is just boring. No one wants to hear that. Well, so you know how it is. So here's one thing that we do need to explain to Tim so he doesn't think I'm crazier than I am. So the short version is, you saw on my own channel when there's videos, I go, and I'm Retro Q-9, and so Ian Hobby has kind of made that like stick.
Yeah.
And so now it's now it's a joke that it's a summon. So whoever says that first, then I used to do that live, but then Crow unknowingly on Evercast, he recorded me once and just like played it. And then I got the idea, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm just gonna do a clip, and it really annoys the hell out of Pete. So it's all it's all good fun. So I think the more that like Ian liked it and that Pete didn't dislike it, made me still want to do it because it was just kind of on accident. So
yes,
gotcha.
Who knows? And maybe before towards the end, we'll get you to give us a retro Q-9.
Yes.
But okay, so in honor of you, Tim, I'll do one of our okay. You'll recognize this face.
Retro Q-9.
Yeah. Yes, definitely. Retro Ralph.
Yes, yeah. I think that might have started with him. I just kind of we were just all feeling good. I just asked him if he would mind.
That's true. Yes, yeah. That was a good one.
Yeah, I met him once. He's a great guy. I met him Pinball Expo this last year.
Oh, nice.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
He loves going up to that, and that's in my backyard. So yeah, I met him this last year. Great guy.
Very cool. Okay, so yeah, usually so we kind of start the intro or talk about guests, because one thing I always usually like to kind of I like to talk about is why do we have our current guests on the phone on the show, and why did I kind of like how did I find out about them and all that good stuff.
Right.
So what's interesting, Tim, so I want to say I'm bad at time frames, but I can go by subs. I want to say when I found your channel, I think you were around 1,000 subs.
Okay.
That makes kind of God, I think it was before around COVID, and now you're around a 3.5, which is awesome. Mm-hmm. Your channel has grown.
Yeah, it has grown a lot. I probably get like 50, 60 subs a month easy now.
That's awesome.
Been putting a lot more content out here since December. I've decided I'm going to go a little more full steam, because when I first started, I was doing maybe one video a week. So, but I've upped it a lot here and trying to get more content out there for people.
That's very cool.
Yeah. Usually I notice like you'll do usually 2 videos a week, depending like if there's a place for you to travel or something cool to travel.
Oh.
It'll be something video game related, and the second one will be like an arcade video of like a new game or something else.
Those are my favorite videos when I get out on the road and can go visit places. Yeah. I mean, I have a lot of fun, and those are my favorite ones to go and do. Meeting new people. I've met so many people since I've started this channel a few years back. It's just a great community. I mean,
for sure.
So.
And that's kind of the goal of this podcast, to have people on, meet them better. So what's interesting is as far as finding your channel, it's either one or two ways. It either could have been the algorithm recommending you, or it could have been another channel. So it was like I can't remember.
Sure.
But what's great, or that definitely like what sucked me in is the intro.
Okay.
Because at least I know and I know like at least the first video that I saw, immediately went to the intro, which is great because it shows you at all these different conventions and meeting different people like Kano and Shakalaka, that we did the thing, and you change it up every now and then. You'll remove and you'll add people. Sometimes it's a still photo, sometimes it's a full thing. Yeah. And then what was kind of great is that it's just like you film what you love. It's like, hey, here's a cool game. I'm gonna play it on my it could be my Atari 2600. It could be Evercade. It could be anything. That's kind of like us, right? Like we like to play retro games and all mediums, and then you do go to arcades sometimes, or different places, and it's a nice mix of stuff, and find it very very interesting, and you appear to be into like same type of stuff as we do.
Yes.
And you grew up around the Atari age. Although, like, I know when you did that breakout video, you said Pong was your first.
Yeah. I mean, I
give away your age.
Hey, I'm 53, man. I grew up playing Atari 2600.
Nice.
That was my first system. I've got like 400 games in the other room. I sold them. That was a bad thing. When I would always get the next system and I'd sell everything off. Now I went back. I've rebought a lot of stuff, the nostalgia and stuff, mainly the Atari 2600. I mean, that's where I kind of started my channel, and I love doing Atari stuff. And hey, man, Atari's hot now with the recharge stuff. And,
Atari 50,
yeah, Atari 50 was great, and I play that all the time. I do a lot of videos on it, just showing people different games that they might have missed.
Have you 100%ed each of all the categories yet?
No, I have not yet.
I'm like the first between me and Rich. I like the first. Now it's kind of funny because before I got a Steam Deck, I remember I told Rich, I'm like, well, and like if I do ever get one, I'm like, I'll definitely get Atari 50 because it'd be kind of a nice. Because he was telling me like how he was playing through it on the Switch, and it seemed to be pretty cool. And I want to say with going through all the content, and like when you get to a game, playing it maybe once or twice, it took me a good 5 hours. So there's a lot of. There's a lot of stuff.
Oh, yeah, there's tons.
And there's, what? And I forgot to tell you too, Rich. So once you do that, you do unlock one 2600 game. But there's a few more secret. There's still a few more secret games, and it doesn't tell you how to unlock it. So I haven't done that.
Oh, that's awesome.
I think there's 5 total, right? That you have to unlock.
Yes.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
I know. One's haunted house. The new haunted house. You got to do something in that one to unlock a game.
Okay.
I've seen it online, what games that you can get, but I haven't even unlocked any of them yet. I haven't played much of the haunted house one yet. That's one I need to play.
Me too. Yeah.
I got it. I was saving that one.
Okay.
Because I know that it's high in anticipation for me.
I
didn't want to burn through all the reimagined games that are on Atari 50 and be like, oh, then I feel like I'm done, right? So I had to go back and start picking away. And I'm doing the same thing with Jaguar because I never played any Jaguar games outside of maybe seeing one at a friend's house because he had one.
Right.
And that was it. That was my entire experience with Jaguar. And I always kind of wanted one. And now with Atari 50, I was like, well, I kind of have at least 8 games, right? Or 6, whatever it is. And so I played 2 or 3 on the series that I do on my channel. And then I'm like, you know what? I got to change. Because if I don't, then I'm not going to stop. I'm just going to play them all.
See,
I just burned through them again.
Right.
Yes. See, that's what I didn't know. This is so difficult to do, but I didn't just go to the games list. I only played games as I went through to unlock them. And then now that I've completed all, I can go through. But what's interesting, kind of like, when you watch like a good series, like a show, and then it's over, and you kind of feel sad because you watch the final episode. That's how it is when you get to the end. Without
I got you.
But it's interesting because like Atari, I mean, yes, they were kind of like the first company. They talk about like nobody really knew about life cycles of consoles and all that. But it's just like it's a shame because like the developers or engineers would like they knew what they were doing, but then then they had corporate that conflicted, and it's just it's a shame. Like if that was managed better, like and that's what they even kind of said, like what Atari would be like. Maybe you'd be hearing more about Atari than Nintendo, even if they.
Yeah, they might still been like number one. Who knows?
Yeah,
a total what could have been, right?
Exactly. What if? But at least they're making somewhat of a comeback. I love what they're doing now.
Yeah,
and, it's exciting, and they got another game coming out next month. So
yep. Well, and then one that they still have yet to announce, but has already been leaked.
Oh,
so I follow the Recharge series a lot because I mean they're so great. The guys over I think it's Atom Vision that's doing those games. That team is growing and you can see it. In each Recharge title, there's something new and something fresh that's being brought to the table that is showing that they're trying to hone skill as they're developing all these games. And it's like, I am all the way there for it. But yeah, just poking around in most of I'm on Facebook groups and Twitter and that kind of stuff. But prowling around, I saw somebody that had posted a screenshot of the Atari website. And they're like, I think this is a mistake, but take a look at this. And they showed a picture of a new Recharge game, and it's for Caverns of Mars.
I've heard that rumor, so I didn't know. Okay, I'm glad.
It was on the Atari website.
Yeah,
and I was actually doing an interview with another YouTuber buddy of mine at the same time that the news broke.
Wow.
But during the interview, I told him, I was like, did you hear about this? And he's like, no. So like the whole interview just stops and we start talking about like this news that broke. And then after the interview, he does like news stuff, kind of like I do sometimes. And he's like, yeah, I want to talk to you some more, but I got to do it. I got to do a show. And I was like, no problem, buddy. Like no worries. And then of course he did or whatever. But what confirmed it though is Megan McDuffie. She's the composer of all the Recharge games. She just recently posted a couple days ago the link to pre-order her new album on Bandcamp because she's going to come up with a volume 2.
Sure.
Which means there is 4 new games because she did 4 of the originals, and then right before the other game came out, that was when her album came out. So here it is again, her promoting her album right before an announcement and a potential release for a new game, right?
Nice.
Right on the cover is the same artwork cut out of the poster that was the rumor embedded inside of the artwork of her album cover. And I'm like, well, that's it's happening. But Atari's still mom. They haven't signed with me yet.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's pretty wild.
Yeah, that'd be a great Recharge game. It's a tough game. I was playing it the other day on the Atari 50.
Yeah.
It's tough to get. I can't make that second cavern yet. Getting out of it.
Well, I mean, after you get through it, and then like you have the enemies that are just coming like up at you.
Yes.
It's almost like it lasts forever.
Oh, it does.
It's like it's nuts.
It is. It's tough to get through that, and have enough fuel to get out. That's my trouble.
Exactly.
I'll tell you the Recharge game that has me hooked is Black Widow.
Yes.
What really got me into fan fiction. What really got me into it is when they had that mode where you can play it without any power ups and 3 lives, because then it's because to me then it feels a lot more like kind of like the original. Although what's interesting also that they made the Recharge version a lot harder now that I played the original on Atari 50. But what has me hooked though is the leaderboards, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got within like the top 10 and then I moved down to 9 and then like somebody actually like bumped me up. So I try to, if I can, I try to play that one daily because there's just, and that's one of the few games like I feel like I play that just for the leaderboards. Like I want to see like how low you can get, and when you hit like 9th or 8th, you can see down to 7th. I'm like, well, what's 5th? Because like
I know you right.
It's like
all of them.
Yeah. It's like 8,500. But I'll tell you though, like Hey, Cherry Creep. Like, I kind of know, I think, like, how maybe speedrunners must feel because with me, at least, I play the first round, then usually I'll die. Like, it takes me a few rounds to get warmed up. And then, like, when you have, like, you think, like, you have a game and you're like, okay, I may actually be able to, like, do something. Like, the farthest I've made, like, where the bugs and everything get, like, red. Like, because it starts off blue and then yellow and then red. But, like, I can't make it there every time. But, like, if you do, then you can get within that top 5. And you just kind of learn, like, new strategies and, I think after all, naturally with the other thumb, we'll just move around, we'll like just move around or, or whatnot. But yeah.
And that's an excellent co-op game because me and my friend Tom, he's been in a few of my videos and goes to some of those arcades and helps me film and stuff. We played it. Last time I checked, we were number 1 on co-op on the Xbox. I don't know if that's like a whole leaderboard, but that is so much fun playing 2-player because you can revive somebody eventually.
Oh,
yeah. There'll be like a
little
heart you have to pick up, and you can revive them if you can pick that heart up.
Oh, so I know what I wanted to share with you. Okay, so for those of you who don't know, here I'll play this quick clip. It's in all my intros, but you inspired me to do this. I'll
okay.
In a second.
I'm Warren Davis, and you're watching the Evercade Effect.
So
nice. Yeah, I've met Warren. Great guy. Great.
Yes.
Awesome.
But I say you inspired me because you're going to mention your intros. When you go to conventions and you talk to different people and whatnot. And he was really nice. And Game Fest 2022 came here and I'd seen several YouTubers videos that he's very approachable and very nice. But it's kind of weird though because at first I didn't think I would ever feel kind of like starstruck. It's weird because when you go to approach people like that, you're like, oh, they're just another dude or whatever,
right?
And then I was, and then he was really patient because it's funny because me and my wife went there. She's like, yeah, I'm going to walk off and let you do your own thing. she just kind of said I don't care what you do. I just don't want to be a part of it.
Do what you
great. But I mean, at first, because I just, at first I was a little bit shy. And then I think that I'd talk too much. I'm like, oh, hi, and then it's funny because I know at the time, Retro Ralph did a video on Qbert. And so I was kind of filled with that knowledge of, hey, Qbert talks to you. And so I don't know. I was just kind of telling him stuff just kind of let him know that I care. And then I'm like, oh, hey, I saw, but then I hope I didn't fanboy it too much because I saw that EMC Murr went to a convention and found a copy of Qbert for the Commodore 64. And do you remember? And of course he didn't, but I don't know why, And so then anyway, after just talking to him a little bit, I'm like, okay, let me just ask him. I'm like, the worst thing you can say is no.
Exactly.
And so then I just said, hey, I have a YouTube channel, and I said, hey, I'm just wondering, if you would just, can I just point the camera at you? And would you mind just saying, I'm Warren Davis and you're watching the Evercade Effect? And then,
right. Yeah.
And keep in mind too, that he also had a mask on. So that made it, because you're not going to tell somebody, hey, can you remove the mask? Because I can't, obviously you're not going to tell somebody that. But when I told him that, he just kind of smiled. He's like, what's my line again? And then that's where he stand back and he took off the mask and I was just able to hold it perfectly. And I was happy the audio picked it up and I was able to, go into Adobe and kind of tune that down. And yeah, he was a real nice guy, and I was just happy that he.
He's been to several conventions I've been to, and I've talked to him several times. Great guy. He got a new book out here recently, last year or so. I've had the guy from NBA Jam do my intro, Tim. I had Duke Nukem's voice.
Yes, that's right. Yes.
Awesome.
John St. John, great guy. I met him in Milwaukee, and he was at the convention up there, and had so many stories to tell. But super nice guy. He'll get on the phone, and if you want, and he'll call one of your friends and be in the Duke Nukem voice. And he's just a card man. And
that's
then.
Awesome.
And I loved it too that he censored it so you could so
I asked him to.
I figured that was
he could have went the other way for sure. And I think I had Master Pacina to play Johnny Cage. He did one of my intros. I had him a few times.
That's cool.
Some of them. So those guys are great. Yeah, Mortal Kombat guys. I love. They're usually a lot of conventions I go to.
That's really
or the Goblin Ghost has them up there a lot too.
Yeah. So who would have thought that that you could make a living in the 90s pop culture video game, if you're a beloved character or do a voice or anything, you can go to these conventions and people like us remember.
Yeah. Brian Collin, I've met him a few times. The artist that did or worked on Rampage and stuff. Great. He's at a lot of conventions that I go to. Super nice guy. I mean, I just love talking to those guys every time I go to conventions, and they love talking and telling the stories all over again of, what happened back in the day. And it's just a lot of fun.
That is cool.
I was going to say, Tarek, how do you know he doesn't have footage of him with doing the F-bomb? I mean,
yeah, that's secret take.
But you know what? So the whole thing with Warren Davis, because I kind of here's the thing, because of that whole experience. Later on, I realized I probably should have bought something since but I wasn't even I was just so happy that made I wasn't even thinking about it, and then I was like, oh yeah, I probably should have bought something from him, but yeah.
Well.
I mean, well, I guess we all kind of have those moments for the first time in a really long time, because I love going to conventions, love it.
Yes.
I went to Too Many Games this past summer.
Oh yes, I've heard of that one. Yes,
and it's a fantastic convention. There's so much there. I went there for the day because it was it was first time. It's my scouting mission. Go in, see what's going on, see if I actually want to go there for a weekend. The answer is absolutely. You cannot see everything in a day.
No,
there's so many vendors, there's so many things out there, and it was one of those things where I had no idea who was actually going to be there for any kind of celebrity or YouTube or whatever, any kind of personality. But I just so happened to be walking around, and I noticed that they had a Cinemassacre booth. And I'm like, oh, I wonder if James Rolfe's here, and he was. And that was my thing, how you were meeting Warren and kind of got a little, a little struck. I was like, I'm waiting in line, just I was like, oh well, I wonder if he would sign something.
Sure.
So I'm looking in my bag. I was like, what do I have? And it just so happened that in the same bag I used to carry my Switch around. And I had these little controllers. So
okay.
The NES controllers that plug into the Switch.
Yep.
And I was like, well, I mean, he's the guy that played all the NES games, right?
Right.
So I asked him to give it an old sign, and then he did.
Awesome.
So I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. And I keep it on my desk because it's like, oh, all right, it was a fun thing. And he is a really nice guy.
I've not met him before. I haven't seen him at a convention. He would be a great one to meet, though, for sure.
Yeah, just super chill. If you figure especially if there's then there was a huge line. You can see people because I met other people in other circumstances, and you can kind of tell it's cool that they're there and they like seeing the fans and all. But there's something that's okay, I'm just kind of getting through the onslaught, kind of thing. But he was so patient with everybody and just genuinely wanted to hang out.
Sure.
It was really cool.
Awesome.
It's really cool.
So yeah, Thomas Young says he's saying that the Duke Nukem is probably his favorite.
Nice.
I could bring him back. Yeah, I'd like to meet him again. I'm hoping to catch him at another convention. I'd love to do another intro with him. But I thought about bringing him back onto my channel.
Did you remove him because it's kind of you want to show off everything, but you don't want to have the intro be too long? Is that kind of
Yeah, because they're basically saying the same thing about my channel and stuff. So that's the only reason I took them off. Lately, I've been doing a lot more streaming. Haven't had an intro here lately. I've just been going straight into streaming. But hopefully, I'll be getting out and doing some more on the road arcade stuff, and I'll bring the intro and all that stuff back for that for sure.
That's a good question. I wonder how many LJN games James has signed. I wonder if he just looks at it and he's like, no.
But yeah, so let's talk about that. But see, one thing I think that's neat, Tim, when you go and film places, because I like how you'll do a commentary and then you'll show it and do the highlights.
Sure.
Which I think I like that style better, because I think because I've seen videos sometimes where people show it and they'll talk at the same time, and you can tell they're doing it live, and I think it's difficult to do that, because it's like when you're excited about that, you want to tell everyone about the arcade, and you kind of maybe want to casually show some machines, but then you also want to showcase it off. And so I think it's I think it's great how you divide it up, but it's neat though, because sometimes when when you do go someplace, we could see a whole like video series of that, and then and then then it'll go back. I mean, and then yeah, you just have interesting different things like what was that one where for your wife's birthday you got her like that skeet ball, and it was just really great to see her also play games with you. So it's neat. And you had like your grandchildren over, they were playing the arcade. So yeah, it's a neat mix. But yeah, I mean, and definitely, I mean, we were talking about before the show. You were saying you film what you love, and that that comes through. And I know people can only see a corner of it there, but go to Tim's channel. He did like a whole whole tour of his like whole arcade and everything reorganized, and he's got like lots of stuff on the wall. And it's neat.
My daughter, she can't even walk upstairs. I got pictures everywhere, and I've got a loft that peaks, and it's just full of pictures of everything. Video game, a lot of Atari art, box art,
cool
stuff I got. I like getting stuff from conventions now, just because then I can look at that stuff, some of the art from those conventions, and it just reminds me of being there. But I've pretty well run out of space. I need to expand.
Right? Yeah. I was speaking of that, I think maybe this was last year, but you did a video that was just dedicated to like all the variants that you had, like with the 2600, and I knew they were out there, but I didn't know to what extent. Like you explained like the shapes and. I get a kick out of like geeking over all that.
There was a lot of different molds.
It
was the wild west for the Atari 2600, and that's what probably ended up killing it because a lot of garbage came out. But I've got all the Activision games here in the United States. I've gotten so bad I was collecting Blue Label Activision games. You run out of things to collect for.
Right.
You're trying to collect all the different label variants. So yeah, that's just a big passion of mine. And Atari's cheap to collect for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
If you're in retro collecting, I mean, prices have skyrocketed on everything. So Atari still stays pretty low for the most part, unless it's a rare game. But that's where I've kind of gotten. Because I think I got around 400 some games. So now I've gotten to, if I want some of these games, they're going to be the expensive ones. So
And isn't it true? Like, I think I've heard this where people say like with Atari, like nobody has like a complete collection because they're like some of those like rare, like really rare ones.
Yeah. I
mean, there's some that you're never going to get.
How many people are going to get a copy of Air Raid?
Air Raid. That was probably my most prized one is Chase the Chuck Wagon. And that's actually mine from a kid. My dad saved it. It was in he found it a couple years ago and goes, "Hey, look what I found." I go, "Are you kidding me? Of all the games I had, we still had that one." I said, because that's an expensive game.
It is. Yeah. I mean, it's one of those ones that I actually like, I'm kicking myself because.
Did you have it at one point?
I had it. My uncle had, my two older cousins, they had a huge collection. And they had sent out for it because that's how you got the cart. And I used to play it all the time there. And when they grew up and went off to college, they gave me their entire collection. So I had all these carts and it was awesome. And when we moved, I moved down to Florida for a little bit, and most of that stuff never made it back with me. And it wound up getting like sold. And I was like, I mean, it's now that I'm like back in it. I'm like, oh,
what'd I do?
I was like, oh.
I've been down that road where you get rid of stuff. I had the 3DO. I had the Turbo Graphics as a kid.
Yeah, there's so many. There's so many on my list. I had I used to collect well, not collect, but just play Sega CD games. And I had all 5 of the Working Designs releases for Sega CD, and they're very expensive now, and it's
exactly.
So because when you were buying them, when I was buying them, no one cared about Sega CD. I was picking them up for like $20-$30 a piece, and the only one I paid like what I would say like real money for was I paid retail for the last copy of Eternal Blue that Working Designs had at their own factory.
Oh wow!
And so they sent it to me, and I was like, oh yeah, I have it, and then they. Silly me, let go of it, and I'm like, oh. So, but yeah, it's collecting is just awesome though, because sometimes it's like, sometimes I like the chase more than I like the you'll have them, you know.
That's it for me. I've only bought one game. When I said I have the whole Activision Atari 26 collection of all their games. I bought one on eBay. The rest I hunted all down. So Double Dragon's the one I eventually had to get on eBay. I could have waited, but I was like one away, and I said, I'm just going to get it.
Yeah.
I don't like paying those eBay prices.
No, yeah. Well, I mean, sometimes you luck in, and then
sometimes
I do that every once in a while. Like, you know, if I have a hankering for a game,
exactly.
You know, like the last game I think, you know, complete in box thing I purchased on eBay.
Oh yeah.
Was right after something crazy happened in my house, and I lost a lot of stuff. But one of the very first things that I got back was a purchase on eBay, and then everything else was like local game stores. But it was a complete in box copy of Golden Axe Warrior for Sega Master System.
Oh wow!
During that time, I don't know what happened. I just rolled that lucky die and just had it. So someone put up an auction, and it was like 150 less than list, and I was like, this is a real one.
Yeah, is this real?
The thing, like,
right.
Good. And he's like, I just want to have it to find a happy home. And I sent him a direct message. It was like, look at this is my story. Like, you know, this is what happened to me. And, you know, like, I would love to have this game again. And then they were like, yeah, sure, done. And I'm like, wow.
Meant to be.
Yeah. And when it came in, I opened the box and I was like, you know, I looked at it. And I was like, not that I don't like trust them or anything, but it's like, is this actually it? Like,
right.
You know, like, look at the cart. Everything's fine. I put it in the Retron, popped it on, and I was like transported back to childhood.
Yeah.
So
it was meant to be. It sounds like.
Yeah, it was just an awesome time. And then there is another, you know, like, I feel like I'm talking like Yoda, but there is, and I actually haven't opened it yet.
Oh wow!
Because it's for a video series that I never got around, but it's actually still taped. Box. Eventually, this one will get opened, and it does have an Atari game in it. I will tease that there is a complete in-box Atari game in this box.
You know what? He might open it later. He's done this before, where he's gotten a box of something, and then they'll be like, screw it. He might.
No, I'm not opening this until I do the video. That's it.
Man.
But the Atari Creep says he's trying to finish his M Network.
It's not a copy of Halloween in there, is it? I don't know.
Oh no.
That's why I still.
There's no way you'd find a complete in box copy of Halloween anymore. I don't think.
Oh my gosh!
Somebody find that. There'd be a news story about that.
Yes. Yeah. Exactly.
So this is funny. Yeah. Listen. Yeah.
I got a lot.
Listen, he knows. Listen, he knows. You know, he knows. He even said in his video for the dig, like, he knows, like, as long as you know what you're getting into, you know, I'll spend a lot of money on it, etc. He's saying that because I made that video where I said I got a test from my brother-in-laws, and I said, you know, I titled it, I'm glad I didn't get an arcade one-up, but mainly kind of like the cost versus the quality, and, you know, kind of like you did. If you can get them cheap, I mean, there's definitely, you know, fun to be had. It's like no denying that. People like to play on them. I would never take away that, but yeah, he had to.
No, and I'm not going to be the person that spends $600, $700 like some of these machines. That's me. I'm a bargain hunter.
So that is a great topic that I do, but that I do want to. Yeah, that's a printout. That is kind of.
This is as close as I'm getting to this.
Yeah,
one.
that's a close. That is a great topic. I do want to talk about kind of like one-ups. You know, real, you know, kind of like real arcade machines, and then, you know, there's like the Legend Ultimate and iArcade, and they'll have their pros and cons. But sure. Before that, so there's a question that we always ask all of our, you know, just one question that we always ask all of our guests, because like it kind of tells a lot about them, you know, as a retro gamer and whatnot. So we just always like to ask, like, you know, and it could be any time in your life from child up into whenever. It's kind of like, you know, what was the one game that, you know, you want to, you know, it's kind of like, what was the one game that was either like kind of like your eureka moment that kind of like changed your life or like influenced you, like and I always, you know, I'll give you mine, for example. Like for me, it was just always like The Legend of Zelda, because at that time it was like the first game where you were just thrown into this world and you had to figure out stuff, and there were secrets and bombs, and, you know, so for me, like I was, you know, blown away at the time, and, you know, that kind of shaped my way of like thinking, and it's kind of neat being able to figure out stuff, and you had to ask friends and all that. So we always ask our guests, like, and it doesn't necessarily even have to be a game that you like. I mean, it could be like, what was the one game, and it's kind of difficult, that it was like highly influenced you,
Well, I'm gonna have to say it's the first game I played, and I mean, yeah, I played Pong and all that, but it was Warlords, and
that's a great game.
My uncle, I'd go to my grandma's, and he lived in I think it was Arkansas or Maine at the time. I can't remember which. He had like 60 Atari games he'd bring up, and I had nothing and never seen anything like it. And he had the four paddles, and we'd sit around, all the cousins and us, and we'd play that. And I just could not believe. I mean, this game, that's what really got me into video games was Warlords. And ever since, and and him having 60 games, you just popping them in. It's just like having an arcade there at grandma's house.
Yeah.
You were blown away. You were able to interact with the TV, because before that we were just watching TV.
Yeah.
So I would say it was Warlords for me that got me going. And then here I am 53 and I haven't stopped. I'm still buying everything I can to play, so Warlords would be the game for me.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
But that's great that you got to experience it with the pedals. And I say that because when I had my Atari 2600, I don't know if my parents didn't know, but like I didn't have paddles. So like I could never play Breakout until like the neighbor had paddles when I came over. Because you couldn't even play and I know what you mean. Like, it was like pretty sweet with the controls. And all that, so.
It's great.
So like when those of us like
one of the best things ever. I wish we had them on the modern systems.
Yeah. Well, that's
and the way that you could feather the button and kind of hold it as you were catching the volley, and then you're holding on, and you could actually just kind of like pitch it, and then you let go at the right moment. You go boom! Oh man.
Yeah, they can't be duplicated. I don't
exactly. That's what whenever we talk about like Evercade, like Atari collections or the games that rely on spinners or trackballs, we're always really critical because we're like, it doesn't play. It doesn't play the same. But if you play like Centipede in the 2600, it's perfect because it was designed for for a controller. Yeah, so it's just like, and that's why I always kind of tell people, I'm like, if you can get past the graphics, it's a super fun game, and that's it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, with those older games, like especially with younger people, like I understand if something like the Atari isn't appealing to them because they didn't grow up with it and all that,
right?
And people have different levels of pixel art, that they like and whatnot.
Sure.
Which so for me, like gaming wise lately, what I like is not necessarily just playing like retro games I've already played, but like new modern retro or indie games, like in that that pixel art style, like like a lot of things that you show off on your channel, which is great now since I have a Steam Deck. Like a lot of those games, that you show, I can actually play them because PS4 is weird of what it would get. Like Galacticon, I think it's there. Like Donut Dodo, it never got. So it's really it's strange. But yeah, that's why when you do those like for those games, like when I say at least if I don't get them, then like I add them to my wish list because at some point they'll go on sale. But yeah, so I do want to. So yeah, let's talk about arcades. I know that's something we always love because it's interesting. Like here's where I'm at with stuff, and people kind of tease like, hey, there's room for one behind you. So like with modern or real arcade units, right? Like let's say you take the cost out of it, and I'll go by like what Retro Ralph said. Like he said this a lot in his video. He's like with real arcade units, they're antiques.
Yeah,
and he's like you could have one and you could like be perfectly working and you could move it. And then it could not work.
True.
And so he says like, and he tells me this. He's like, if you're going to get a real arcade machine, I guess unless it's one that's just been refurbished and then you're paying out the wazoo. He's like, be prepared to maintain and to do some work. He's like, if you're the kind of person that gets disappointed or would be frustrated that it would just break, then like don't get it. So it's like because it would be great to have something like a Miss Pac-Man, like any of the classics. But then it's interesting because in like the one-ups, like the look, like it captures it. But then I feel something like the iArcade or the Ultimate, like it's got better controls, better screen, and then you have more options. Like with both of those systems, you can add games to. Actually, you've got two iArcades, so you can even do like two players. Which is just awesome. So it's So I guess that's what. Yeah, if we're talking about that. like, I guess how did you get down the paths, I guess, of starting with 1-ups and then graduating to iArcade? Or
I started with the Gen 1 arcade 1-ups. I paid the $2.99 for the Centipede. I think I pre-booked it or whatever. GameStop. Did a video on it. At the time, I thought it was awesome because I really didn't have anything else. And, you know, it had the trackball. Now, it wasn't good. I actually put some of my best scores with that crappy trackball, though.
nice.
But that's where I kind of got started. And then Walmart started clearing them out. Like, I mean, I picked up an Asteroids for like $99, a Pac-Man $99. And then it kind of started there. Walmart kept clearing these out. And I had the one room at the time. And I had that room so crammed full of machines. It was a mess. You know, I had machines everywhere in there. I just kept getting them because Walmart was clearing them out. But then I eventually got the At Games Legend. And I thought that was going to cure everything for me. I put 7,000 games on there. That's a lot better quality for sure than, you know, the controls are a lot better, especially the spinners on there.
Yeah, the spinners are awesome.
Right. Yeah.
Spinners are awesome. And, you know, and I was out of room with that. But then my daughter moved out. Got another room opened up in the house. I told my wife. So I went to a convention. I saw the iArcade. I fell in love with it. And I don't know what it is about it. I mean, leaderboards are on Legends Ultimate for a lot of games. I play a lot of pinball on the Legends.
Okay.
That's my big thing. I do love the pinball. I can't get that experience anywhere else for me. But yeah, iArcade, I've got a lot of the games, you know, on my Legends Ultimate, you know, illegal, whatever, you know, on Coin Ops.
Sure.
I'll buy these games and I want to compete on these leaderboards because a lot of those don't have necessarily the leaderboards so that drives me a lot because, you know, back in the day in the arcades, man, I always wanted my initials on, you know, on those games.
Yeah.
If I played a game, I wanted to put my name Tim in there, top 5. And now you got like 100 people you can, you know, compete against.
Right.
There's some great players on the iArcade. So if I can make the top 10 list, I'm pretty excited.
Yeah.
And they got so many new games. Like you said, Donut Dodo. I just did a video today on Wizards of War, or Wizards of Wall.
Yeah.
Just like Wizards of War.
That game looks
those games on an arcade cabinet get me excited because you don't get that experience. For me, I mean, yeah, I could get it like on like you said, Steam or whatever. I'm an arcade guy, so I try to play most of my games that way. Or I do play Xbox a lot also, but I don't know. That I'm just kind of really excited about the iArcade right now.
nice.
That's what's really been driving me is those leaderboards.
Yeah, no, that's why I can relate. That's why I said, like, for me playing Black Widow Recharge, like, that's, you know,
Exactly.
you know, because I figured with a game like that too, I'm like, well, like, people are probably playing the modes of the power-ups. I'm like, I bet there aren't as many. And then that's kind of how it started, but maybe not. But then, like I said, then I got bumped down recently. But it is, yeah, the leaderboards are great. But no, I get that. Like, that's why, like, I know during the sale, like, you could get like Miss Pac-Man was like $1, like all those classic games. Like, sure, you could emulate it, but I'm like,
sure.
But I think, like, you know, we're kind of on the same premise. Like, if you can buy a collection that's already that exists and is already there and it makes it easier, and there's leaderboards, it's like, yeah, give the devs money. And, but, you know, we're kind of like that too. If there's something that you really want to play and you can't get it anywhere else, sure, emulate it. But no, I totally get having some form of a home arcade with the joysticks and all that. And I think, to be honest, that's why I haven't loaded something like MAME on my Steam Deck, is because, like, I'd like that arcade experience. And that's
sure.
That's the one thing that I learned when I went on my my brother-in-law's 1-up, is that it was definitely fun. Like, there was no doubt.
Sure.
It was definitely fun. Like, and that's why I said, like, I wouldn't pay $500 for that machine, but if it was like at those prices that you're talking about,
yeah, exactly.
You know,
yeah,
and then
$100, I'd probably still have something.
I know. I got
Yeah.
lucky.
Well, see, then the weird thing was, like, the game I kept going to on that was like Root Beer Tapper. Of all, like,
fun game.
Of Joust Defender, because just using the twin sticks, it was just like so super neat. But the funny, even though he wasn't set up on the arcade, I was just having fun, just trying to beat my own score.
Sure.
I get that, and that, because, like, that game, I figured out that you can, like, with the first few levels, you can kind of beat them when you want to. because you can like quickly like serve the people, but then you're not going to get as much of a score.
Right.
And so then it's like it's kind of like a high risk for reward game, because on those lower levels you're like, well, maybe let me keep throwing the beer at them, and then if you get the tips, they all do that dance, and then you kind of gives you more time. So I can see like I could only imagine like the real like the beer tapper with having the taps and all that. But yeah, like that was But it was just weird that like of all the games, like I just kept gravitating just
That's a unique experience using the 2 controllers and stuff like that. So yeah.
I tried it once with the button, but it wasn't the same.
It's not the same. No.
But definitely there's there's definitely a reason to have some form of an arcade, whether you go through a company or people make their own or getting a real arcade machine, because it's neat like the nostalgia having something there.
Yes.
And then the cool thing too, like I get with the 1-ups, like even though maybe if you don't play them all, just having them all turned on and hearing the different sounds, like to like replicate that sound in the arcade that you can't really explain to anyone else unless you've been there. I mean, that's that's awesome.
It's music to my ears hearing all the machines playing.
Yeah. Well, the other thing too is they're a lot lighter. Like real arcade machines are like Rich Ralph always talks. He has to get help moving him, around. But so that's neat with the arcade, especially now, like with the like the newer ones that look like Dragon's Lair or like
they're called the gold cabs. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Like the only thing initially that I don't like is like if I had to find one fault with like the original cab, it didn't look like a typical arcade machine, at least like here in the States, which is fine. It's like, hey, I just want an arcade to play games on. If I had to fault it for one thing, but then now they've come into that territory. But the thing is, it's like, why would you? And I heard YouTubers say this, like, if you're going to spend $600-700, like, why would you do that when you could just get like an iArcade and like unless there's like certain games you really want to play, and maybe at some point, like the higher end ones will we'll go on sale because they're pretty pricey. But I think they're neat.
I think they're right now. They were $799 on sale. I mean, I think they're up to $999 when they're not. But I don't own the gold. The big advantage on the gold, I mean, you have the marquee and all that, but that one will have the option to plug in the guns.
Yes,
they're going to have Operation Wolf. So like. My cabs, I'll be able to get Operation Wolf. I will not be able to do the guns though unless I get the new cab.
Well, I could have been. Maybe this is rumored, but I thought I heard one or two YouTubers say that they might, for like the original units, they might make a new control panel.
That is true. They are making a new control panel for all of them. The only thing is with the ones like I have, I think they're going to be Bluetooth. So they'll have track balls. They haven't announced it yet, but I think there's going to be a steering wheel put on there too. It looked like on the front, possibly.
Oh, really?
They've not announced it. I'd assume. I shouldn't say that, but I think that's what's going to be eventually because they'd have a lot of driving games on there. I might get that. That's been
steering wheel would be something that would be.
Dude.
Yeah, I would. I've got 2 cabs, so I would probably at least get 1 control panel to add on.
Well, it wouldn't surprise me because with the Synth and Lycan, they make a foot pedal now for Time Crisis.
Yes.
It's like if you could use it for that, or even use that with driving, because that one is actually metal. Because I was kind of worried, like with one of the 1-ups, like Outrun, like I could see that breaking over time because I'm not going to be easy on it. Like you're going to want to slam.
Sure, of course.
Right. Yeah.
So that would be, that would be a game changer. Being able to use light guns and steer, like the steering wheels that have force feedback. That would be.
Mm-hmm.
That would be incredible.
Yeah, that would be a game changer.
Well, there was that big rumor too on the at-game side that there was going to be light guns for the Legends Ultimate.
I would love for that, yes. And then that all fell apart, and I don't know what happened there.
Yeah, I don't know what it was either. I mean, it was actually 2 years ago. That was a Christmas present for my brother-in-law. He was like, "Oh yeah, I'm going to pre-order them for you." I was like, "Sweet, light guns." It's like, wait, what?
Yeah.
Well, what?
I don't know what happened to that either. But
I don't either.
What though? I mean, let's say with Synth and Lycan that does come on Fire Arcade. If their driver's open source, who knows? Maybe the community makes a Coin Ops X for light guns. You never. I mean, that would be.
I mean, well, even but
you never know.
So I guess I'm secretly just looking for an excuse to maybe dabble in iArcade or whatever. But if that would be a thing, right? If on iArcade all of a sudden it was like, you can do driving games now, and you can do light games, you can do all this other stuff that I can't do on my Ultimate.
Right.
Now I want an iArcade, right?
Yeah.
Like that would get me.
Yeah.
Like I say, I have no trouble with all these machines. Arcade 1-Ups, iArcade, at games. I mean, I love all of them in different ways. But the guns are coming for sure, because they've already announced, they did some videos on it, and Operation was the only game that I've seen so far, gun game that will be. But I'm sure there's going to be many more coming. I can't believe they just do one. So there'll be more. They just got to get licensed, and there'll probably be some new games, some modern games. I'm sure they'll have on there. Gun game.
Oh yeah,
that'd be really cool. Yeah. There's all sorts of really wild ones.
Yeah.
It'll never happen, but there are a couple niche arcade cabinets that have unique control schemes that I would love to see, even if it was a one-off, like a one-up or something like that. One in particular is it's like going through license hell, basically.
Sure. Oh, I know exactly what
is a Virtual On would be the one that I would love to see, because I don't know if you've ever played that in a cabinet.
I have not played that one. No.
So there was one at Universal Studios Orlando. Okay. There was like this weird hidden arcade. You didn't think there would be an arcade inside the theme park, but there was.
Right.
Way back in the day. And they had this. It was a dual station cabinet, and it had to have been a 50-inch screen, like in each one of these. It was massive. And I must have sat there for like 2 hours of that day at the cabinet. I was mesmerized. I was like, I can't believe how fun it is to play this game.
Right.
And I was like, and then I never played it again, because I never saw anywhere that had that cab.
Right.
And I was like, it's always in the back of my mind. I was like, man, if someone could figure out a way of like emulating it or whatever, but then you need the controllers, right? So you need somebody to figure out like 2 flight sticks or something.
Sure.
Like program it that way. Oh man.
See, what's interesting though about like with the arcade market is that, and I don't know, referencing Retro Ralph, but I think he talked about, but it brings up a good point that like there's no medium tier. What I mean is like for pinball machines, you'll have like your expensive ones like at 10,000, maybe you have like a pro model that's like 5,000.
Mm-hmm.
Like, take something like Cruising by Raw Thrills. Like I want to say like you can only buy like the arcade machine, which is like $9,000.
Right.
And of course you can get it for the Switch, but like there's not like there's not one that's like 2,000 or 3,000 for like a home use. And who knows if there would even be a market for it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I don't know, but yeah. Some of those pinball machines are pretty expensive, especially those new ones. I've last 2 years I've went to the Pinball Expo up in Schaumburg, and I've really fallen in love with pinball. Back when I was a kid and stuff, I didn't play a lot of pinball, but the older I've gotten, the more I've enjoyed pinball for sure.
Cool. Yeah, I'm kind of the same way too, because I was always about all the video games.
Sure.
But going to Fun Spot, there's pinball everywhere in there, and they had and I know it's like, I'm gonna say it, and then all the pinball fans are like, "Ew, that's such an awful machine." But they have a Hercules.
Yes, the world's largest.
Yeah, and I was so fascinated by that cabinet that it made me, after I played it, I was like, well, there's this other wall of pinball games that are like these like world famous ones I've never played before. Let me go play some of these. And it was weird, because Hercules, like the industry's known like really bad one.
Yeah,
it's a gateway into
like, time. It's like a cue ball in there.
Yeah. It's so hard to like,
it's so slow.
And you can see like every time you hit the flipper, it's like straining to push the.
Yes. Yeah. A lot of times those machines are down. I know that.
So, but yeah, it just made me go down that aisle, and then I found all these other ones. I'm like, man, this is actually really cool. So those cabinets
neat
are so unique.
about pinballs, and I haven't played them since I was a kid, but they have like a whole theme. So if you're into something, they look like they would, and there's like different mini games, like one that like, so like my wife is like a really, like the band Rush. Like she's a really big
yes,
like Rush fan. I mean, I like him too. We've seen him live a couple of times, and I know
That's awesome.
if I won the lottery, like if I had the means to get that would be like the one pinball machine, because like
there you go.
have like the different music, and it's it's like crazy. Like you have to like hit the different records and unlock the time thing. But what's neat too that I like about with pinball machines, and you could say this about arcades, and as long as you get the pinball machines out of the coin doors, like they hold their value.
Yes.
So if you did, let's say, like spend $7,000 on a pinball machine, and then if you did run into some type of financial crisis, yeah, you could sell it and get your money back. Maybe make a profit. You could at least get your money back. So that's kind of Of course, you have to have that money to put down, but I think that's neat though that they do hold their value. And I'd hope that if you did get like a modern pinball machine, that it probably wouldn't break down because it would just be you playing it. Or at least not for several years. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And those modern pinball machines, I mean, the last few years I went up there. I love Godzilla. I played the new James Bond that just came out this year. They're just so much fun. I don't even know what the prices are because I just go there. I know they're over 10.
Yeah. At least
that's out of my price range, but I don't have anywhere around where I live to play. So going to those conventions is where I get to play a lot of those pinball machines.
Oh, sorry, because we have a Hercules and an all acrylic pinball table at a place called Kenobi Lake in New Hampshire. Huh. That's pretty cool. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how. I wonder how far Kenobi Lake is from Laconia, because there's another one at Laconia. At Weir's Point at Fun Spot.
That's a pretty rare machine. I mean,
you'd have two of them. It was New Hampshire's not a big state.
Yeah,
right. Two of them in there. That's awesome.
Yeah,
that's really cool.
The one thing that I think would be super neat, and again, you can only see those at conventions, but apparently with pinball, like the homebrew scene has gotten pretty big.
It has.
I couldn't even imagine doing this myself. Like people who just like have patience, they have like, skills where they just like come up with their own theme and then they make that. Like I've seen some like the Sonic the Hedgehog one. Like, that could be retail.
They had that one at the Pinball Expo. They had a whole section of homebrew pinball.
That's awesome.
And they said that it has grown. I think it was over double this last year from the previous year, and it's going to keep growing. I remember there was I can't remember all of them, but I do remember the Elf. They had an Elf one from the movie Elf.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. I figured it was your channel where you cover. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
But I did see the Sonic there, so that's cool. A very those are really fun. I played one. I don't remember what it was now, but I remember it was a lot of fun. There was a lot of people over in that area.
Yeah. So it's an awesome comment, Brian, because I actually just saw somebody from the UK has a channel and just did a video, and he imported the Legends Pinball Mini and did a review on it. I actually watched that video today, ironically enough, and this whole pinball conversation, I was like, the reason he got the pinball Mini was because he couldn't fit it anywhere in his house. And I have the exact same problem. Like I'd love the full-size Legends Ultimate Pinball. I mean, but the thing is massive. I don't know where I would put it.
It is very big, yeah.
And it's like again, I absolutely adore having it, but it's like, literally no.
You're all that stuff behind you. No, I'm gonna get rid of it.
Yeah.
Well, you don't know that stuff behind you.
Yeah, exactly. But I was like, ooh, the Mini. Like, I might check that out. And the guy liked it. He had like 20 minutes of video that he shot really well.
Isn't that the Mini? I was gonna say, that's the Mini right there behind you, isn't it?
Well, this is the Legends Ultimate Mini, and I play pinball on there vertically. It fills that full screen up. That's another
awesome.
option for you.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
And I was
gonna say, or you could do like what Tim did. You could make your own. Like
I made my own. Yeah,
I couldn't believe it. You were able to. You got like the TV and everything for free.
TV free. The table I got that free on the side of the road. And actually, the stand I put the Legends Ultimate Mini on there, and I have a video on how I made mine free. I tell you what, when you stand there, it feels like the other one, except I don't have the back glass.
Right.
But I'm playing on a 47-inch screen, and it's fun. people come over. When I have people come over, pinball is one of the most popular things in my arcade.
Mhm.
They love playing that.
Yeah, I
That's
was
awesome.
impressed because it's neat. You can like especially DIY. I mean, it's like sure you would like the background, but who cares though? It's like, as long as you're having fun. I mean, that's
Hey, we're having fun, and you don't know. You really don't know.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what? I wonder if you could like. I mean, as long as you had the buttons. I mean, because I have a gamer mini as well.
Yes, that's what I'm using.
Oh, you're using the gamer mini to do it.
Yes, I have a video on it of what I did on it, and I mounted a TV onto a small table. Yes, it's got the buttons. Should
they've got the things.
Yeah,
Yes.
Yeah, that's exactly.
Yeah. I actually traded somebody. I had the longer one. I don't remember what they call them. There's so many of them.
Yeah.
And had the buttons on that one, and I didn't have the space, so I traded them for the mini, as long as I could have my buttons. So
Nice.
yeah, it works. It works perfectly. You can make your own. It's a cheap way to go.
Well, yeah, because you just hook it up and then.
I just mounted a TV to a table. I found a free table on the road and put a 47-inch screen and tilted the TV.
Yeah,
and,
I got it.
I tell you,
check out the video out.
Yeah,
I'm trying to.
It's a lot of fun to play on there. I play it all the time. I've got like 100 some tables on there.
That's cool.
Yeah,
That's very.
It's a lot of fun.
So.
Yeah, I was trying to see if I could find that so I could show.
Oh, if you find the video.
Actually, wait, hold on a second. I think I found. Hold on a second. I gotta mute it before. I think the Amazonia. I think it's.
Oh yeah, I did. I did like probably 4 videos.
Yeah, it might not be the video where you talked about me, but I think this.
Me and my wife actually built the table or attached everything. I think I did a video on that.
It's like this is weird, like watching yourself and there we go. See, check that out.
Oh wow!
See, Rich, you can do that.
Look at that thing.
Yeah,
yes.
That TV was free.
Oh,
They gave me that TV, and I said, "Man, this is pinball right here."
That is awesome.
Yeah, you know.
And I think you even put like artwork or something there on the side, and that looks like really.
You mean underneath it?
Shows it better. Yeah, underneath it. Yeah.
I just because I didn't like seeing the table legs and stuff, so I just got something cheap that was kind of glows in the with all my LED lights in here off of Amazon. It's just a lot of different colors that kind of pop. It's just material underneath. So
very cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a simple way to go if you want to save a lot of money.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm already halfway there.
You're giving Rich ideas. He's like, well, I got the thing. Yeah, that's all you need.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
I mean,
it must look. It looks so crisp in this video. It must look awesome live.
It does. The only bad thing about this is that TV. It was free. I think that's 720. I mean, you can produce this, I think, in 1080. So if you had a better TV, it would even look better. So nice. Yeah. I couldn't resist the free price, so that's why.
And
that's awesome.
Yeah.
So I guess you just got to change the settings to the tilt, right?
I mean, it just
you just go in the settings. You can change it. Takes 2 seconds.
But that's what I mean. That's what I like because in the retro space, I want to say it's difficult to come up with like new new ideas, and so it's neat that you just have like a lot of different random stuff, but they all relate in some way to like retro or to go back to that. It's a
right.
It's kind of because because honestly I didn't think of if you happen to have this TV, we'll check it out, hook up something like an At Games and there you go. You've got your own home. You got your own home arcade. So I guess you're like giving Rich ideas. He's like, I can already see in his brain. He's thinking like, okay,
where's this going?
He's got like a separate tab up looking at eBay or Facebook Market logo. He's like, I might be able to fit a TV like that in the corner. And I've already you're halfway there.
I just got another TV. I got on Facebook Marketplace. I just picked up another TV. It's not as big as that one, but it might have been a 4K TV. Some lady was just giving it away. So I look on Facebook Marketplace a lot to pick up.
That's crazy.
I know, it's crazy. I don't know how I got it because she had like 50 people that wanted it after I said I'd take it. But I drove about a half hour to get it, but I don't have anywhere to go with it. But I'll figure something out eventually, I'm sure.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that is a cool tip, because every once in a while, you never know what you find on Facebook Marketplace. It's actually where I found a pretty sizable chunk. I still collect in television, but
There you go.
I found a sizable chunk of my quest for the 125 in a Facebook Marketplace
Yeah.
place. Some guy was just getting out, and he's like, I got these. And I went down the list, and I was real low. I was at like 40, 50 games, at that point. And he had 30 of them in a set of 50 or 60, because there was a lot of doubles.
Yeah.
But more than half were games I didn't have on my list yet, and I was like, yeah, what are we talking? Where are we meeting? Let's go.
Right.
I actually wound up driving out to, it was like the middle of Pennsylvania or something like that, and like met him in a parking lot or whatever. And but I mean, you just never know. Sometimes that's it. And ever since then, it's like if I'm looking for something,
Exactly.
you can't do it all the time, because then you get in trouble.
Right.
But yeah, it's fun. It's fun to do.
Yep. Definitely an option.
What's interesting about with both in television, and I know like the 50, or maybe it's a 7800, that and like the Atari 7800, that now there's more aftermarket games that like has exceeded the number of that collection. And there's like fascinated like what's neat that for that and for the 2600, like I know you all also watch like the Mortal John Hancock, he'll show off those aftermarket games. But what's great is some like they'll go back and they'll improve like an existing game, like I think out there like ColecoVision, like they'll do like a Donkey Kong or something, or they'll do like a downport, like this is the version that they should have made. So it's fantastic for all those systems that they're still doing that.
I know, it's crazy how it's being made for all these systems. Even better, some of them are even better than they were from back in the day. So
we have a question there.
Yeah,
what we got there.
So do you collect any? Do you collect any replicades?
Oh, the smaller ones?
Yeah, small, yeah.
I do not. I think they're really cool, though. I just haven't got into that. But I watch a lot of videos on them. I've seen a lot of people getting them, and I just haven't got into those. Probably more of a money thing for me, just because
they are kind of I want to say they could be anywhere from like over $100. Like they could cost.
They are over 100 something. But they are.
They're cool.
The videos I've watched on them, they are excellent. I think they even have like little coins you can put in some of them, or
that's cool.
And they look amazing. They light up marquees, and the quality on them look really good. But I have not got into those. No.
Yeah, I think that the only one I don't have any of those, like the little micro ones, right? I don't have any of those. But if I was gonna get one, they're putting out, I think it's My Arcade is doing that new one for Atari.
Oh yes,
with the Atari 50 marquee and all that kind of stuff. And I'm like,
yes, yeah, I saw.
I don't need it, but I kind of want
it. It's calling your name.
Yeah,
I have a lot of the mini machines like that, but I've thought about that Atari when they showed that. I'm kind of interested in that one myself.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, it's like it's a showpiece. It's
it is.
You're not going to have a good fun experience playing the games on that little thing, but
no.
I was just looking at my like the area around my desk at work. I'm like, I could fit it right there.
Yeah,
just look at me. It's fine.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what they're gonna do when we find out more information about the new Atari My Arcade. Like the main console with the two joysticks.
The was it the micro station or something like that?
Yeah.
With the two controllers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I think from this watching various YouTubers and seeing, I guess there's going to be 200 plus games.
Yeah, it's somewhere around there, and it's like most of the games that are on there are all games that have appeared in other places, whether it be on Atari Collection 1 or 2, for example.
Yeah.
On the Evercade. Or on Atari 50,
right?
They've been these titles have been around a while, but it is kind of cool for people that like just want to plug and play.
Yeah,
but I don't know if it's gonna fit in my niche, because
Yeah, you've got a VCS.
Yeah, well, I have the VCS, but it's also another friend of the show, Go Game Go, was he had an open chat night, and he was talking with a guest he had on his channel. It's called Ballistic Coffee Boy, and they were talking about that same news, and during that conversation, Jeff from Go Game Go had actually contacted somebody at my arcade, somehow got some information that said it's just literally going to be the plug and play unit, so no SD.
No SD. I did.
Like maybe expansion via USB port.
Oh yeah, someone hacks it.
Like that kind of thing, but nothing necessarily official. And it's like,
yeah.
Right.
See, here's kind of my take on it. Like, if it's under $50, then it's going to be too cheap quality. But if it's over $100, then it's not going to be worth it. So if it's maybe like at the 70 something, then it might,
I think they announced it was going to be. I thought I saw someone at wasn't it at CES where they announced it?
Yeah, and I think they actually did announce that it was going to be $99.
Yeah, okay. $99.
And then the mini arcade and the handheld is going to be they're targeting $49.99.
Okay.
For each of those.
Okay. Yeah.
So I mean that's not too bad.
But
no,
those handhelds like
$50, I'll have
like
that
you only get
maybe
like you only get like a few games. Like maybe you might get like all the missile commands or.
Oh, for the arcade thing?
Yeah.
The arcade I think they said it was between 40 or 50 games on the arcade, and the handheld has almost 100.
Oh, okay.
So
I know they have like themed ones like for Street Fighter where you get like all the Street Fighters or
right. Yeah. And this one is I mean every one of them those two are Atari 50 branded. So it's like I guess it's like a good selection of games that will work in that subset. And that's how that works.
Something like that handheld, like the one with the 50 built-in game, like that's kind of like if that's like goes on sale for like under $30, then maybe.
I mean, I mean, it depends. I mean, for me, it'd be the game list, right? If I look at the game list, I'm like, well, if more than half of these games are on these collections over here, then I'm good for handheld. So
exactly, yeah. Well, that's like Tim. What was that latest? What was that? Was it in Intellivision or was it ColecoVision? One of those anniversary ones that you found like at local Goodwill or
I found the ColecoVision. I picked it up at Goodwill for like $12.99.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Box.
Wow.
I walked by it the first time, didn't even see it, and then I came back around and it was in the electronics section.
Yeah.
So my wife, I said, I think these things go for about $100 on eBay, and
right.
I picked it up for that. So and I did a little video on it.
See, that's why I even said like at the 15 price point, or like I would take a chance because then if it didn't work, at least it would look cool on the shelf.
Right.
And depending on the controls, at least it's somewhat playable. But yeah, $100 like that would be insane. So I think like
not for me.
Yeah.
Definitely worth the $12.99 just to add to the collection.
Yeah. But I think like the new Atari, it's kind of like in the same thing for $99. Like. It really depends on the quality of the controllers, or well, it's kind of funny because like probably all the Atari games that would be on that collection, Tim, you have it all like on original hardware or anything, you know what I mean? So it's like it would kind of just be like if you want, it's like I could see maybe you getting that if you just wanted to like show it off on your channel, or again if it's something on sale. And kind of same with me, I'm like between Evercade and Atari 50 and all that. Unless there's just some like mind blowing things on there that I can't play anywhere else, like I'm probably good. But like if it's a cheap price.
Yeah, I'm a bargain hunter for everything.
Yeah.
I try to get the best deal I can on a lot of stuff, so I do a lot of bargain hunting. I'll go to flea markets and look for stuff. I find quite a few like I like collecting like Pac-Man cups and glasses, and I've got I think 10 now that I found. Not all of them from the 80s, but a lot of them from the 80s and stuff.
Yeah, like that phone. That pack, yeah.
The Pac-Man phone that actually came from Arcade USA, the YouTuber. Cool. Yeah, he gave me that, and that was cool.
That's awesome.
And my parents still have landlines, so I took it over there and we tested it out.
Wasn't it like you could like hear or talk like half?
I think it would ring.
Yeah.
But I don't think we could hear or something. Somebody
I mean,
told me
either way, that looks awesome on a shelf, but it's cool that you could still test and
yeah. So I got that as a display. I got a lot of Pac-Man stuff. I love collecting it because there was so much of it back in the day.
heck yeah.
Still is, even today.
Yeah, absolutely. Very cool. Very cool stuff. So I just call out to the chat. You guys are still hanging out with us. Any other questions? Make sure you pop that in, we'll ask a few more, and then I guess we're already over we're over the hour 15-minute mark. We'll hang out here for a little more.
Feels like we just got started.
Seriously, it's been such an awesome conversation.
Yeah.
So we'll hang out here for a little more, and then we'll see how that goes.
That's fine.
So, but I guess one thing is, I guess I've been seeing like some of the stuff that you've been playing lately. Is there anything that you're like really looking forward to that's it's on the horizon? You're just kind of like excited for?
Well, I don't know if I think we talked about this off the air maybe before, but the new Atari Recharge game that's coming out, I'm going to butcher the name. Is it Arca R or?
Oh, Arca R, yeah.
Yes, that is definitely on my radar for next month. Atari also has I've heard rumors of a new food fight.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, like
Pico. 100%.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So those are definitely some games for my console that I'll be getting. And then, like, as you guys know, I arcade. I like that video I did today on Wizard of Walls.
Man, that game looked so cool.
That game was one of the coolest. I just love these new retro titles. So I don't know what's on the horizon, but iArcade seems to be getting a lot of those titles now. So I'm looking forward to whatever they got coming out in the future. Also heard that At Games had ice cold beer coming out.
Oh, really?
You ever heard that game in the arcade? It's like the dual stick with the bar and a ball, and you had to move the ball into the holes. Have you guys ever seen?
Yeah. I think yes.
I think it was P-Dubs put a picture of it out that it was coming soon to At Games, and I'm very excited about picking that up because
very cool.
About 45 miles away, I do have an arcade, and they have an ice cold beer there, and it's just an addicting game. I'm not very good at it, but
yeah.
So for all those systems, that's what I'm kind of looking forward to.
That's awesome.
I'm also building. I kind of built that pinball machine. I'm doing like a little racing cab now. I say I ran out of space. I've emptied a closet out now, and I've got a TV in my closet. And I had a platform that I used for some of my arcade one-ups. I put that in there, and I got some LED lights, and there's ice cold beer right there.
Yeah.
But that is kind of.
I've seen videos on that. Yeah.
They have one of this. They have one of these at the Estricades.
Okay, so this is I saw a picture of this, kind of like a picture of like my pinball machine. If somebody had an ice cold beer, so it's supposedly coming out soon.
That's wild.
I don't know how that will play.
That would be neat.
It's coming to all platforms, but that should have to use 2 joysticks. I don't know if they'll have it with buttons.
Yeah, because you have to push almost like a tank control.
So like my Legends Ultimate has the 2 controls. I don't know what they would do for the Mini if it's on for all systems, unless they're going to do buttons, like
Yeah.
I don't know, but I'm definitely I'm interested in that for sure. That's just an addicting game.
It is really cool.
That guy's pretty good right there.
Yeah. I can't believe it. I was like, oh, okay. He's making it look easy.
Yeah, he makes it look a lot easier. I'm not that steady. Hopefully I'll get better at it if I get it. So
yeah. That's really cool.
Yeah.
So
See, I love stuff like that. That's just different.
It is. It's different, and it's just a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
And I was shocked when I heard that was coming out. I just never thought that would be available to us. But yeah, they're gonna do. I guess it'd be kind of like a digital pinball.
Yeah.
Also, kind of interested in you're talking about pinball. I think FX has got FX3. Is that
okay?
I think in February they're going to be doing a big thing, and so I'm kind of interested in maybe what they're doing here in February.
Nice.
I've got almost all their tables for my Xbox and stuff. So
okay.
I would love to be able to
Cool.
turn the screen on that one. I don't think that's
Right.
an option for the Xbox, but it may be with this new update. So we'll see.
That'd be neat.
Yeah, because then I might do
Cool.
something. I might bring an Xbox over here for my and put it with my Legends and have to play with a controller or whatever. But maybe I could have it on that screen also. So we'll see.
Mhm. Yeah, that would be neat.
Yes.
Sure.
Of all those things that you mentioned, for me, Food Fight,
Yes.
I'm
Yeah.
the most excited about. And so here's what's interesting. So admittedly, like growing up, like I think I was maybe vaguely aware of that game in the arcade.
Yeah.
And then when I got into Evercade, that was like one of the pack-in titles, the 7800 version, and I love that.
Yeah.
And
it's
recently in
such a-
Atari 50, I've been playing the arcade version, and they play like as far as like the controls, like they play very different, like similar game, but they play different.
Yeah.
And so to do like a reimagined or some other like that really excites me because that
It
game
is.
is very addicting. And I'll tell you for me what I like about it that's different because that that type of score chase game, like take like your Pac-Mans, Dig Dugs, Galagas, and all that, like all the levels, like they're pretty much the same, right? Like they're not randomized. Like you know exactly where the pellets are going to be. But with Food Fight, not only is it randomized, when you die, it's randomized. Like the positions of where like the chefs pop out of their out of their holes and like where the food is. So sometimes that could be in your benefit. Like let's say you could start off, there could be a good bunch of food by you, or like you almost beat the level and now you're screwed because they have the upper. But I like that randomness. It keeps it really
changes it up every time.
Yeah. And in the arcade, I think they use like a 49 directional joystick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They probably do. I'm not sure about that, but now you said that, I think it might.
Because what's interesting, like, and I say differences because like in the Atari 50, like you're like what's weird is like you're always facing to the right, so it kind of like it gets you to throw the food, it gets you to point more in the direction. But the 7800 version, you don't have to do that. And I think the arcade version it's a little more challenging, but it's neat that like the music is different. And it's
yeah.
I've played the 7800 version on the actual hardware, and I don't even know. Do they have it? I don't know. Is it on the Atari 50, the 7800 version?
No,
I don't
it's
think
missing. I feel like I wish that was.
I think they have another version of it on there. I don't know which one, but
it's like that. No, you're right. It's like the Atari 800
XE or
yes, yeah, no, yeah. I wish
it's
they
not
had
really, it's not as good, but the
it's
arcade
really
version, you're right. I feel like it's a lot harder than the 7800 version because I was working on a video of doing Food Fight, but I can't do very good at it yet. So I've kind of scrapped that for right now.
Yeah. It's tough. You get used. I think because like for me, I would switch between the analog stick and the thumb pad, and I think ultimately, I might have settled for the D-pad. I don't know. It's weird, but sometimes depending, I'll switch back and forth. I don't know. Sometimes I feel like with the D-pad, I can aim better, but the analog stick, I can dodge better. So sometimes you could use both. But yeah, it's weird though. Like changing for that, I'm like, wow, this is a lot harder of a game. I'm like, I almost maybe like the 7800 version better.
Yeah. I think it's a little easier, and it looks almost exactly the same. They did a great job converting.
Yeah.
But yeah,
for them to do any type of reimagined, recharge, any type of different Food Fight sequel, whatever they're going to call it, like I'm all about.
Yes, that's definitely on my radar also. So
yeah, because I was like, super expensive, but it's like if you had to have one arcade machine, I'm like, okay, yeah, if I had a Food Fight, I probably wouldn't complain,
Yeah.
Wild stuff. Oh, what's going on?
I could hear dogs barking there.
Yeah, man. It is. My puppy's going out of control at something on the television, I guess. So it's all good. But all right. So it looks like I don't know. I mean, we got Fan and Fiction saying thanks for coming in, which is awesome. Very cool.
Yep.
So if there isn't anything else out of the chat or whatever, do we have any final thoughts in this kind of the part of the show? You have anything that's coming up that you want to promote that's coming up on your channel, or any cool projects you're working on, anything like that?
Well, I kind of mentioned earlier that I'm working on building like a driving cab. I had an Xbox that didn't play the disc anymore. I tried to sell an Xbox One, I tried to sell it a few times. Nobody bid on it, but it still works digitally. So now I'm and I have a ton of games, driving games that I have gotten over the years. So, and I just picked up a steering wheel for the Xbox One. So I'm building that in my, like I said, I got a closet, and I ordered one of those steering wheel holders or whatever, a cheap one. So I'll probably review that. And like I got Hydro Thunder and some of those games. I didn't play much of the Hydro Thunder with the controller, but I tell you what, I was playing that with the steering wheel.
Yeah,
loved it. So I'll be doing some stuff on some driving stuff. Always doing iArcade stuff. I just get whatever interests me. That's what I'll be doing on. I don't know anything other than those two things maybe coming up, but. And I'll be doing more Atari stuff, obviously, when they release some of their new stuff.
Nice.
Yep.
Yeah, I was going to say, if there's a new shoot 'em up or a twin stick shooter on a platform that you can play, guaranteed 100% you're going to cover.
Oh yeah.
and I love that. No, because I love twin sticks and shoot 'em up.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So it's like
good stuff.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Best game.
Before we go, if you so now at the time we're put Tim on the spot for a second. I would say two things. If you wouldn't mind doing a calling all retro gamers and a retro Kill-9 would make you full screen, that would be cool. If not, that's cool too. But
what do you want me to do? Calling all gamers?
Here, we make you full. Because we like to do added intros. If you just add some point we're supposed to like change and add our intro. Just calling if you just want to do calling all retro gamers.
All right, I'll do that for you guys. Calling all retro gamers.
Awesome.
Nice.
And if the spirit moves you, if you want to do a Retro Kill-9 or I am Retro Kill-9, then that's fine. If not, then that's
I am Retro Kill-9.
Perfect. Awesome.
Nice.
Awesome. Because
that's
now
awesome.
I don't know if Pete's still on, but then if I like just to here's what you could be.
I love it.
So real quick, here's what you could be. Here's something that you could be a part of.
Retro Kill-9.
Retro Kill-9.
I'll fit right in.
it'll be fun, and it'll annoy Pete if he's still around. But yeah, at some point, like with all our guests and everybody, we're gonna redo our intro. God, especially I hate the way that my old office used to be, but yeah, at some point we're
it's all good.
And then now because we've gotten a few from our last guest, so it's like, well, we really have no excuse to not.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, no, yeah, we gotta get back and doing that kind of stuff.
Yeah, heck yeah.
So, but yeah, as far as things maybe coming up over on my side of things, I don't know. Life's coming up on my side of things right now, so it's gonna be a little bit of a bumpy ride. But as soon as we see
another coin ops, one coin
that will happen on Saturday.
Okay.
No worries. So yes, here on Calling All Retro Gamers, it'll be me and that Legends Gamer Mini and some coin ops X action. We'll just go and I went from C down, so then I'll go back the other way and I'll go to like Y or something and go up. And then we'll see what we can see for that on One Credit Quick Look. That's the name of the segment there. Right. And on the bacon ice cream side of things, as soon as I can get my hands on some time, this guy right here, my buddy Golden Axe Warrior, I'm going right back in. I've got some grinding to do yet off camera to get some horns. Get ready to go back for Dungeon 7, trying to finish that thing up, and then hopefully we'll be able to finish that whole game. Still, if Chris, the Atari Creeps here, still in the chat, I am still aware that the end of January is near, so I'm going to try to see if we can finish that up before January. That was a challenge. From him to me. So.
Yeah, because then I get to be your moral or coach, support, whatever you want to call it.
That's right. When we get to the last dungeon, we're doing it live, and it'll happen either. It'll either happen over on Bacon Ice Cream Productions, or it will happen on Calling All Retro Gamers. So when I finally do get to the last dungeon, it will happen live. And yes, Yes, Chris, I did not forget. So good stuff. Good stuff. Well, awesome conversation, man. It was awesome to hang out with you. Thanks so much, Tim, for coming up.
Hey, thanks for having me on, guys. I appreciate it. Had a fun time.
Heck yeah! Time went by too quick, though, man.
Yeah, I mean, it really is an hour and a half, and you were just like, it felt like it was like we just started, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it was totally awesome. Love having you back again sometime too.
Sure.
Doors always open.
Sure. Appreciate it, guys.
And until next time, guys, we'll catch you next time for some Calling All Retro Gamers. And that's it.
Yep.
We'll see you later, guys.
Keep on gaming, everybody.
Yep, keep on gaming.
Calling all retro gamers.
This concludes our broadcast day.
Click.